Welcome, Free Enterprise fans, to the latest match in the Lali-Ho League. Fourth week of Swiss matches is almost in the books, but we've still got a couple of races left to run before we close it out, including this one featuring zilch6 taking on ch4osh4des. My name is Twisted Flax. Joining me behind the scenes is Solaris on the restream, Aegis doing the tracking, and joining me in the commentary booth today is Kinda Nerdy Housewife. How are things going for you, KNH?
They're going great, and you always are happy to see a Rosa start. No searching for a white mage today. She is already in your party. She is going to start gaining levels right at the beginning of the game, so that's always kind of nice. And
yes,
looking at our two randomly selected objectives, it is boss hunt day, and we are going after some elements. We need to find a Mylon Z and a blue turtle.
Let's hope that Kanaso shows up in a rather nice spot for our runners. We hate to have to go down a hook route and find it, for example.
Yep, and as always, we have these same three objectives that have been in every match in the Swiss rounds. Complete cave magnets, forge that legend sword with that adamant rock, and trade away the pink tail. Our runners only have to complete 4 of those objectives to get the crystal.
That's right. So when you've got a double boss hunt staring you in the face from the opening screen, does that change your routing at all in the early game?
Yes, it does. It really points me towards Mount Ordeals because there are, in fact, 3 boss checks up there. We're looking for 2 boss checks, and Miss Dragon is kind of the sneaky boss check. It's a key item check if you find it, but it's not, necessarily an objective.
Yes, same for me. With those 3 boss hunts available with the D-Mist, I always want to prioritize looking under the waterfall, looking in the mist cave, making sure that, it just isn't hiding there, because that could be a very nasty place to find them if you forget about them.
Yeah, for sure. You always hate when you leave one of those unchecked, and you could have had it a lot earlier.
Especially in a one-on-one situation where you don't know if your opponent may have found that a good hour earlier than you. Like, that's always unclear in the back of your mind if it happens.
Yeah, for sure.
Looking at our runners' records, they're both 2-1. Now you need 4 wins to guarantee yourself a spot in the brackets. So no matter what happens here, both of our runners will still be alive, but you still definitely want to be 3-1 and having 2 shots at your 4th win to get in the bracket. Then you'd rather be 2-2 and basically be a must-win situation from here on out.
Yeah, the more losses you get, the harder it is to climb out of that hole. So if you can get a win here, that's going to go a long ways towards that security of making it into the bracket round.
Absolutely. Now, what kind of key item are you hoping to find early on when you start the game?
Of course, Magma Key is always convenient, getting immediate access to the underground without having to fight any bosses. I actually like getting a Twin Harp right away on this flag set, and it looks like we're off. So let's see who Rosa is joined by today. A Cane, and we see a Octomam giving us just some Artemis arrows. Very useful for early game damage, but it's not going to open up any new areas.
You love to see that King start. This is probably, arguably, 2 of the strongest characters to get early on in the game. They should make this early game very, very doable for these runners. And those Artemis arrows, put them with Rosa, let her aim away. She can get through a lot of this early part of the game, especially as you look for a weapon for Kane, for example, and get a few more levels on your team.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Objective Way, for telling us of our objectives.
And we'll see where our runners are going to be heading off to first. Looks like they're both heading north. Very similar paths, but going in different ways. We've got both of them going into the waterfall, or the watery passage, where some good equipment can be found on this T-Wild flag set. We've got ch4osh4des doing the back end first, rather than with zilch doing the more traditional front end.
Yep, Chaos finding a a sorcerer robe. That'll be good for that Rosa. Oh, also a sorcerer robe. The waterfall is just full of sorcerer robes today.
I think there's another wizard robe as well. You start with a wizard robe thanks to the dwarf starting kit that's on for this flag set. But the second one isn't going to hurt.
Seeing an ogre axe, that's slightly useful. Chaos heading over to Hobbs. There is a boss check up here and a character check. Equipping that dwarf axe on that cane. That is the only way to back row glitch cane, and it's not terrible for a starting weapon either.
The thing you've got to watch out for that is it does reduce your agility by 5. And at the start of the game, that's a pretty healthy chunk of your agility. So it looks like he is possibly using this as an anchor. Try to get more levels. No, it's not for what's happening. So it will do a lot more damage than your wind spear that he started with, but you'll see how many attacks he'll be able to get out due to that low agility.
And we find a Sid who is guarded by an antlion.
Sid's another really strong starting character, starting with that 790-ish.
Zilch just took a peek and we saw a Foo.
I love taking the early peek into who's in the Kaipo bed, because you never know where you're going to find the sand ruby to wake them up, and you want to know if it's going to be worth your while to come back here and wake them up. When you see a Foo, you're absolutely coming back, and you want that moon mage.
Chaos having a slow but steady fight here. I don't think is in any danger of dying, but this will take a little bit of time.
Chaos is in a slightly interesting situation here because he put his Rosa in the middle of the party. Normally, you would want to use aim against Antlion so you wouldn't trigger the counters, but with Rosa in the center of the party, you get both the bonus for accuracy for being the center of the party, and you get the bonus for the aim command, and that winds up overflowing the accuracy and making her actually do less damage. So I think he probably wanted to use aim there to increase the DPS output, but was afraid of winding up missing the aim command there.
Ooh, looting out the back of Hobbs. I generally don't do this unless I have a source of exit, but you can find some nice stuff back here. Meanwhile, Zilch going into Antlion. We're gonna see the boss in just a second. It's a Sparkle. It's a Pale Dim. This shouldn't be too bad here.
No, it's rare to find a boss here that would actually be dangerous because of it's so weak, such low HP that a couple shots in and Pale Dim goes down, no problem.
Rewarded with a Sand Ruby. So Zilch knows that Fusoya is in that bed in Kaipo. I would not be surprised if he goes directly there and picks him up.
Absolutely. Now, the way that, of course, Fu works in Free Enterprise, he's not going to have all the spells yet. He'll be getting them 3 at a time for every boss he fights. So far, Zilch has fought, I believe, a grand total of 1 boss. So he's not going to be amazingly powerful yet. It all depends on what kind of spells he gets and when he gets them. But a few more bosses from now, especially if you want to say go up Mount Ordeals, you're going to have a very, very nice magic user very early in this seed.
Yeah, it's always Fu is definitely kind of easy mode in a way, especially when he gets up to those higher tier spells. But yeah, Mount Ordeals would be a good play here. Get some good spells on that Fu. This might also be a good time to just check Mist Cave and the back of the waterfall. Do some easy bosses to get spells on Fu that way.
Yeah, absolutely. If you get the early Fu, then normally you probably just reset out of a Mist Cave check if it's not a boss you're looking for. But the Mist Cave boss is even easier than the Antlion boss. It's a really easy way to advance Fu's spell levels. So, absolutely take that really easy boss if you can get it.
And if you're super lucky, one of our objective monsters will be there.
Absolutely. Chaos Hades also getting through the Antlion, getting the Sand Ruby. I don't believe he's checked Kaipo yet, but I have to imagine since it's right next door, it's worth a shot.
Yep. Zilch going to Hobbs here. We'll see if he thinks this Sid is worth the boss fight.
I mean, looking at this party right now, you've already found the Sid and the Fu. With the starting Kane and the starting Rosa, that's 4/5 of a really, really nice endgame party. So I would have to imagine you would want to take them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice when the seed gives you an endgame party right at the beginning. Then you're not wasting levels on, wasting experience on characters that you're ultimately not going to use. Also, thank you, Lady Id, for the raid. Welcome in, everybody. We are racing some Final Fantasy IV free enterprise. It is the Final Fantasy IV randomizer.
See an Ogre Axe for sale over in the Full Weapon Shop on KS Hades side. That's a really nice weapon for Sid. I don't think we found any other good weapons for him to use. So if we can sell enough of our equipment, looks like we're just getting a Charm Claw instead.
Yep, I do believe at least Zilch found an Ogre Axe in the waterfall. I don't know if Chaos also got that.
One thing I do notice is that Chaos didn't cash in the Sand Ruby just yet, preferring to go to Fabul first. You know, like we said, we don't have a lot of the spells on the early Fu, but I did see Lich 2 coming out, so we'll have to see if Zilch will get through this a little bit faster because he does have that little extra power.
And some D-Lunars attacking Fabul today. D-Lunars are a fun boss. They have so many different weaknesses. They're undead, so you can hit them with curative items. They're weak to fire. They're weak to holy swords. If you're really cheeky, you can Starveil at the right time and turn them into frogs.
That's always my favorite play here, but again, due to the fact this is an early game spot and they have very little HP, especially because the HP is split between the two of them, yeah, they'll be taken out well before they can use their breath attack.
And over on Zilch's side, those D-Lunars destroyed by a well-placed Cure 3. And a Magma Key, so no hook route today.
Between the character options on offer and the Magma Key early on, this is proving to be a pretty comfortable seed so far.
Yes, so gentle.
Yeah, I'm only saying that in the hopes that we can sort of do the commentator's curse and wind up having them finding like a Kenatsu on the hook route that they have to do, for example.
Oh yeah, I've found this flag set to be very deceptive sometimes. Sometimes you have a super easy start and then you just hit a wall and suddenly it's the worst seed ever.
I cannot count the number of times I've gotten to 3 objectives with half an hour in. I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be so easy. And I spent the next hour tearing my hair out trying to find one of the remaining 2 objectives.
Chaos going to go unmoor the airship. This is something I've been doing in this flag set a lot because you know trading away the pink tail is something you want to do. You're going to have a high likelihood of meeting that hovercraft, so might as well unmoor it now.
Zilch climbing up ordeals, checking the chests out here, which are actually on T Wildish a fairly good value. You already found a crystal ring in one of them, for example.
Ooh, you always love to have those. Great defense, great magic defense.
And also, if you can't find a curse ring and have a problem with anchoring for the final fight, you can put that on a lot of your characters and get it up to that magic 28 agility breakpoint.
And a CPU is our first boss on Ordeals.
Granted, you're never happy to find CPU just because it's a kind of annoying boss to fight, but this is really not a good spot to find it. You want to find one of those boss spots that are really punchy and really heavy on the physical damage, because this spot has practically no physical attack. So CPU will do the same damage anywhere it is, the same 10% of your max hit points for every Mazer attack. So, I mean, on the one hand, you're happy to see it because it could be annoying elsewhere.
Chaos, meanwhile, is turning in that Sand Crystal, or Sand Ruby, is going to be super happy to have this Fusoya. And also was blocked by the Kaipo Inn lady earlier, the true final boss.
There are so many CPUs, or NPCs, in Kaipo that are happy to get in your way.
So the fact that Kane is back row glitched and Rosa's aim command here are going to be useful for the CPU, since they will both do the not reduced amount of damage to the back row CPU. And he's through.
Absolutely. One boss down, 1.5 to go, I'll say, because the third boss spot here is usually a pushover.
Yeah, that third spot has really low stats, almost no HP. Putting that crystal ring on that Fu, not a bad choice.
Not at all.
Fu does have Quake now, so that is a huge advantage.
ch4osh4des is going to take a check here in Mist Cave and finds DKC. Opting to reset out of it instead of taking it and maybe getting 3 extra. Ooh!
I did a little gasp because we found one of our objective monsters. That's why when you're on a boss hunt heavy seed, you go to Ordeals, because there's a good chance you're going to find something you need.
That's a very good place to find the Vanilla Mylon Z. Meanwhile, ch4osh4des is going to go into the Baron Inn, finds Tella talking with Odin.
I bet they have some interesting conversations. But this first spot is a really easy pushover. It's the second boss fight here you gotta worry about. And it's a Mist Dragon. Wow, this seed handing us all the nice stuff up front.
Well, that's 2 of our 3 objective bosses we're looking for. Of course, D-Mist giving us a key item in Mist Village once we defeat it.
And this shouldn't be too bad. This D-Mist is going to be pretty punchy. Those punches hurt, but it goes into that mist form and does nothing. And during that time, you can, heal up your party members, apply those blinks, just get back up on your feet. So this should be very doable. Meanwhile, up on Mount Ordeals, we receive a Luca key. That's nice. And we're fighting another Sparkle. This has a good chance of being Wyvern. It is.
Oh.
But I think Fu is going to be, yep.
Yeah.
The anchoring is correct here. So we're going to get multiple characters protected and we will be fine.
We might not even, 8 off the hit points here from that one shot from Rosa. Kane cleans it up.
Yeah, because Wyvern is a dragon type, and Rosa is rocking those Artemis arrows right now. And we get a hook to go with our Mist Dragon.
I'm sure the runners are very happy they found the Navi key first, because there's always the thing that happens if you do find a hook first on the overworld, and you still have some checks left. Do you take those checks, or you look for the magma key? Luckily for our runners, they found the magma key first, so they can just look at a hook and say, that's a free character, it's another shop. But otherwise, maybe not even. Well, you will need it eventually for the pigtail, hopefully. But
yep, it is half of the pigtail check, so it's always nice to find, even if you don't have to do a hook route. And let's see what Rydia's mother gives us. After a single treasure chest loot. A Protect Ring, a nice piece of equipment, really helps your squishy mages withstand those physical attacks, but it doesn't open up any new areas.
Definitely something you're happy to see, and especially you're happy to see because you have so many other places to look right now. But if you were looking for key items at this point, you would not want to see that. But no, we're going to go ahead and open up the volcano here, get underworld.
Yep, there's a lot of different checks you can do. Of course, there's the free check in the Fey March, completely unguarded by any bosses. There's 2 very difficult bosses in the Fey March. If you're lucky, though, occasionally one of those will be a free boss. You got Dwarf Castle. We got that Luca key. Well, Chaos does not have the Luca key yet, but there's a lot of places you could go from here.
And you can also go down to Sylph Cave and say hello to Yang down there if you don't have the pan, and come back up and get at least 1 item from Sheila.
Yep, Zilch also gonna get this Tella, gonna get this Mist Dragon, and gonna get this hook. And Zilch's Mist Dragon fight should go pretty fast because of that Quake.
Won't even need it. One swing from Kane, and that's all she wrote.
I'm curious to see where Chaos goes from here. And opened it up, but decided to go to Ordeals.
Well, the cutscene for what happens when you open it up, it's a good time to sort of rethink and recenter yourself, especially if you've had a seed like this where a lot of stuff has happened early. And I think he realized, oh, I haven't done Ordeals yet, and I've got a foo, so it's probably worth it to go up there, get some more spells, see what the item is, and he's going to be very happy to find one of the 2 objective bosses hiding up here as well.
For sure.
So after that hook grab on Zilch's side, I think that's going to do it for overworld checks at this point for him.
I believe so. Unless you want to do the ultimate sneaky play of going and checking the Tower of Zot for our blue turtle friend. But that seems silly at this point.
That would be quite an amazing find if he does do it, but yeah, I wouldn't be betting any money on that.
Let's see, is this one Quake gonna take all 3 out? Yep.
Oh yes, no problems there. It's always the risk that you take out the attacker and the defender before you take out the CPU proper, which CPU does not like. But with such a low HP spot and a good AoE spell like Quake, no problems there.
Zilch just quickly checking those couple of easy bosses, looking for some more spells for Fu, most likely looking for that nuke spell since it makes the entire rest of the game much easier.
We'll see if he also wants to take on the waterfall boss. I don't think anybody's checked that just yet.
I don't believe so.
No, it looks like instead he's going to go ahead and open up the path to the underworld himself as well.
Chaos getting through that Mylon Z is gonna complete the 4th objective. Only 3 more to go.
Thank you to our tracker Aegis, who reminds us that Mega Sisters were in Waterfall. Chaos took a quick look at that earlier.
I still love the magma key dropping down the well sound effect and how it just drops for so long.
What is that key made of? I always want to know.
I don't know. I assumed it was just explosive on impact. Probably whatever the bomb is made out of for destroying the Mist Village. That would be my guess. Golbez just really likes giving explosives to his generals, I think.
Doesn't seem like that's a strategy for long-term health for his generals, if I might say so.
No, do not join Golbez's evil dark forces. Not very good employee benefits there.
On Chaos Hades' side, we saw Wyvern did get off that Mega Nuke, but the spell power here is so low that I think 2 of his characters actually managed to dodge it.
Okay, Zilch visiting King Gaiet, gonna help him out with this infestation of a lunar boss. Who do we have left? We have Plague left.
Ogo?
We've seen Wyvern. Yeah, Plague and Ogo, I believe, is all we have
I think
left.
we've seen the others, yes.
Ogo might be a little tricky here, but then again, you have a Fusoya. Plague, on the other hand, probably going to be no problem. The one difficulty with Plague is, as a flying monster, he is immune to Quake.
No, looks like it's going to be a Lit 3 and a jump from Kane as well. It'll be interesting to see if we can get this spot, I think, about 8,000 or 9,000 hit points down before the time takes off, or Zilch decides instead to do some revive strats to reset the count on his side.
The nice thing about Kane's jump is you can wiggle a little extra time out of it. If you're very desperate on a plague fight.
Also, I can do some berserk as well, which would also help with the timing on the count.
Now, Chaos doing something a little different, going down Cave Blanc. Are we gonna live? Yes. Oh, finding sirens and hourglasses in Cave Blanc.
Yeah, this is why you make that check, is for this incentivized shop. You're always guaranteed, I believe, 2 of the tier 5 items, including things that could be sirens and eyeglasses, both things that are really, really nice to find.
And looks like we're fighting a dark elf, and we will be joined by Yang.
The interesting choice to make is, I don't know if you want to keep the Tell around, since on these flag sets, unfortunately, Tell is nothing more than a second-rate Fu. So if you have Fu, yeah, there you go. You gotta trade off the Yang there and get another solid melee attacker into your party.
Yeah, and Sid is a decent anchor as well, so you don't really need to keep Tella as an anchor there. Especially since I do believe we found a curse ring.
Zilch throws out that Quake, does about 3,700 points of damage. That would normally be enough to defeat this spot, but unfortunately with Dark Elf, you've got to trigger the second half of the boss fight before you can actually kill him.
And finding some coffins in the Dwarven village here.
Where are these shops whenever I play these flags?
Randomized.
Random.
Printing mechanic is what I think our job dwarf was today. So thank you, Chaos, for checking in with our dwarven friend. Zilch seeing the creepy floating hand. I mean, I think if I saw a creepy floating hand, I would just stare in awe as well.
Right. You don't want to get too close. Don't get involved in it. You never know what's going to happen with those creepy floating hands.
Even the 3D remake was like, that's too silly. We're just gonna animate him teleporting over there. And I missed that item. He closed that dialogue box so quick.
It's the tower key, which is going to make it a very nice run up the tower. Get 2 key items in one go if Zilch so decides.
And might check the Fey Marsh first. Yes, no, yes.
Maybe.
Was definitely thinking about doing the unguarded chest first, but I actually like this play.
Absolutely. If you're powerful enough to take out Dwarf Castle, you're powerful enough to take out both bosses here on the tower usually. So yeah, absolutely. Meanwhile, Chaos Hades doing some work with those sirens he found in the Eblin Cave, and in honor of today, cracking some eggs.
Yeah, it is Easter. I guess they are Easter eggs today. This is not a bad idea because this is an endgame ready party already. You got Fu to throw nukes, you got Rosa to heal, you got Kane and Sid to do melee damage, you got Tella to be Tella. He can cast Berserk, that's pretty cool.
And Blink, don't forget Blink.
Ooh, he does cast the Blink.
Oh, I have to imagine the Chaos Hades is just going to take a few eggs here, get up to a point where he's comfortable taking on, say, Dwarf Castle, and moving on from there before doing a full grind. You really don't want to commit to doing a full grind, especially because I think he only has 5 sirens, until you have that 10 key items to make that grind go a lot faster.
And on Zilch's side, we're going to try to see some beautiful leg, but this spot has no stats, so this perfect leg is not long for this world.
Yes, Rubicante can be a difficult boss in some boss spots. This boss spot is not one of them, as you can just see.
And there's the nuke on Fu. That's what you're looking for. So unless the boss at the top here doesn't like getting a nuke cast on them, there's a couple of bosses that will counter a nuke. But unless that specific edge case is in play, nuke is pretty much your go to destroy any bosses that aren't on the moon.
It was interesting to see Zilch go and take out the boss in the cannon room before going up to the top of the tower. Normally, people do it the other way around. I wonder if he was looking for that nuke spell specifically to make this top fight go a little quicker. I think he had 6 spells left to go, so it was a 50-50 shot.
So Chaos going into the Fey March here, that makes me think that the little mini grind there might have been so that he can take on the bosses here and maybe not have to do a second trip down.
That's interesting, because you are going to see these bosses for the first time now before you do the grind. So,
Gasp.
oh!
Gasp! We have found our blue turtle friend. This is actually a rough spot for him, but we have a Fu with nuke. And the more damage you do to Kanatsu, the less his wave attack hurts you. So a nuke or two and we'll be good to go.
Yeah, at this point, it's just a matter of keeping Fu upright and him nuking as well.
But our hidden bosses were not very hidden in this
No,
scene.
no. You expect them to be, find them in the depths of the moon or somewhere. These guys were all pretty well obvious.
Chaos taken this trap chest, found it in a good spot to where he still has HP on his Fusoya. This is one of the few ways to get tier 7 equipment in this flag set. And also this chest is pretty good for experience in itself.
Yes, we do have a Quake caster like we have with Fusia now. These warriors are not the worst fight in the world. As you can see, one Quake took out 3 of them. The second Quake should mop up the rest.
The good old Fusoya running out of MP. That is Fusoya's only disadvantage, is compared to the other characters, he does not have a lot of MP.
You're hoping to find a Soma drop somewhere, take you up to around 200 or 4 new casts, if you calculate things by new casts.
And our unguarded chest in the Fey March has a package. Well, we know it's not going to be useful for a boss fight, because we found all our hidden bosses. But there could be a good character there, you never know.
At this point, I'll be interested to see who does check that, because the parties are looking pretty nice. Zilch is rewarded with a Darkness Crystal after that Kanatsu fight, so the entire game is open up to him.
And I'm excited. Go ahead.
I just want to say, meanwhile, Chaos will be giving us a quick check on these bosses as soon as he equips his characters out.
Yep, I'm excited to see who's down here. It's always fun when you get a boss you can take down early.
There are still a large number of free bosses. I think the only quote-unquote free boss we've seen so far has been Dark Knight Cecil.
Yeah, that's true. We haven't seen Imps, we haven't seen Water Hag, we haven't seen either of the guards. Which to me says you might have a pretty easy moon.
Well, for our runner's sake, I hope that's true. For our sake, watching, I hope it isn't.
Let's see. A pass from our airship assistants. Well, that's going to be useful.
Yep, the direct route to Zeromus when you're ready to fight him. Helps so that you don't have to take that long walk through the subterranean.
And both of our runners here kind of converging on the Fey Marsh.
Let's see if these bosses are fightable at this point, which is always a question.
Let's see, we got a blue robe, that should be doable, and a Mom Bomb. The Assure spot's a little fast, so that Mom Bomb's gonna hit pretty hard. And it's Water Hag. This is definitely doable. This is a scripted boss fight. All you have to do is bop Water Hag 3 times, it will go ARG, and then it will crumble to dust.
Yes, that's going to be a nice key item check here. It'll be interesting to see if either of these runners want to do the Mom Bomb at this point. I'm not going to say it's not doable. I think it certainly is, especially with the power that Fusia brings to this party.
And we also have 3 Blink casters, and Mom Bomb only does physical attack.
That is true as well. So it is absolutely doable. It's just a question of if it's going to be worth the time. But you're down here. You probably want to cross off everything in this in Fame March at this point. So I certainly would not mind doing it for if I were playing.
If it were me, I'd probably give it 1 or 2 shots. And an Excalibur. We don't have a Cecil, so not super useful. But if there's a Cecil at that package, it might be worth picking him up. Oof. Water Hag. Unfortunately, Zilch's agility not really set up as well as Chaos's was, so got beat up by that Water Hag pretty bad. Those physical attacks in that spot, they hurt a lot.
It is the hardest hitting spot in the game, or at least one of them. I think it's tied for it with maybe Cave Bahamut's spot as well. That being said, you see a boss like Water Hag where it's so easy, and 2 swipes later, and all of a sudden we've lost half the party.
Yeah, Leviathan spot plus physical attacks is not fun. But we see Zilch rearranging the agility here, getting that Sid in the middle, putting a curse ring on him. I don't think he will have any problem on this second attempt. Chaos is going in for the Mom Bomb. With all the Blink casters here, I do think this is a winnable fight. Unless you get the worst possible RNG. Yep, and already starting to put up those blinks.
Now that will make this fight go a lot quicker. Maybe get a Berserk out on that Kane, or that Sid. I mean, not the Sid, because I think the Sid's cursed. I'm not sure how much damage the Sid's going to put out, but I mean, this fight is going to be well in hand once we get those blinks up.
Yep, Blink is, it's a really good spell. Even when I was playing this game casually as a wee child, I understood the usefulness of the Blink spell. What I didn't know back then was how powerful Slow was.
There's so many things you learn about this game by playing Free Enterprise that you'd never ever learn by just playing it vanilla.
Zilch getting his Excalibur. Let's see if he decides to take on this Bomb as well. But Fu is out of MP, so that's going to be a problem. I would actually go back up in Tent, but...
Tents are usually easier to find when we have a stack
of
of those.
Nope, deciding not to do the Mom Bomb. So if there's something... This is a big deal for Chaos right now, because this Mom Bomb fight is going to take a while. There's no way around that. But if it pays off, it could pay off big. But if it, there's nothing there, that could be a big time loss.
Yeah, absolutely. This could be a big pivotal turning point in this race. Zilch is going to take this time instead to investigate the Luca Cave. It's a decent shot at this point. You go down there, you see what the item is. If it's good, you fight the boss. If not, you reset out.
If you're comfortable with the door grind here, this is not a bad place to grab some levels on your way down either.
That's absolutely true. The doors give you a fairly good amount of experience for fighting them.
But looks like Zilch is not going to do that on the way down, just doing some quick zooms through the Luca Cave. And a rat tail. Well, we have a hook, so Chaos Shades can turn in that rat tail immediately. I wouldn't be surprised if he does that right away, or goes and talks to Yang first so he can do both of those checks while he's in the overworld.
Yeah, they're sort of in the same vicinity, so I would think he would go ahead and do Sheila 1 at the same time as doing the rat tail. So that's still a potentially very interesting turn of events if that rat tail ends up paying off.
Yeah, so this time investment could pay off. We'll just have to see. Yep, going to Sheila, that's not too surprising. I think that's a good move. But let's see what item we have in the bottom here. Nothing useful. So Zilch probably going to reset out. Doesn't need to peek at the boss. Has already found all the bosses we need.
Probably happy that it doesn't have to warp that thing out since exit never works in Luca Cave.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the reasons it takes so long. They really wanted you to see that Kane betrayal cutscene, so they're like, no, you can't exit out of here. We need Kane to betray you for a second time.
No way around that one, I'm afraid.
But let's see what the Tail Trader gives us. A ninja sword. We haven't seen an edge, so not super useful. It's at least a lot of cash.
That's true. If we still want to buy some more sirens, which I think Chaos Hades might want to do. At some point, I think I think only about 5 when he's first down there in Cave Evelyn. There are 2 characters as well that will not show up at every seed, so it's entirely possible we never even find that edge. Or, for example, the Cecil that we have Excalibur for.
Yes, Apex Corvid, it is spoilers. The character who's literally named Kane does in fact stab you in the back. I'm sorry if that was spoilers.
Since this game
The name should have given it away, though.
Oh, there's a pink tail.
Neato. So we're going right back to that tail trader. Hi, I was here 5 minutes ago. I would like to offer you another tail.
It does make me question what exactly Sheila is cooking up there. She has a pink tail just ready to give away.
Oh dear, oh dear.
But yes, and we have Zilch as well doing that, so we're going to be lighting up Objective 3 on both runners we have very soon.
Yeah, this seed has been moving pretty fast so far. Getting a white shirt, that'll be great for that Rosa. The Fu can also use it.
Right, I have to imagine that the Fu will be mostly slinging with the dark magic this seed, since we do have the Rosa, yeah. And so that white shirt is really nice to have. And throw that sorcerer shirt on the Fu so you get a little extra oomph on those new casts as well.
Yep, and if you didn't know, in the most recent version of Free Enterprise, we did fix the glitch with the white shirt. It now adds to your white magic stat, your will, rather than your black magic stat.
Now, it looks like Chaos Hades is going to double back underground, do some of these checks that Zilch has already done. In the meantime, Zilch is raising up his hovercraft so that he can go ahead and check turn on this pink tail.
So while we're getting some things we've already seen, I do want to just let you know that there is one other restreamed race tonight that is going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That is going to be over on our partner, the RPG Limit Break channel, and that is going to be Commander Leonhardt versus Rumblefish. So more Free Enterprise action today. And I'd also like to thank our partners RPG Limit Break and Randomania for letting us use their channels, because there is too much Free Enterprise going on right now, and we couldn't have nearly as many restreams if we just had our own little channel. So thanks to them for letting us borrow their channels.
Absolutely. And while we're shouting people out, I also want to give another shout out to all the people working behind the scenes. That being Solaris doing the restreaming and Aegis doing the tracking. Thanks a lot for keeping us going, you guys.
Okay, I was wrong. It was the black shirt that was broken. I remember we fixed the shirts so they work properly now.
See, I thought they were switched back then, so I was right there with you.
But we did some QA for Square. We went back in time when Square Enix was still Squaresoft. We did some QA for them, and the white and black ropes now work correctly. Actually, it was Boardface that made them work correctly. Ooh, Zilch heading into Mysidia here. We're gonna see the big whale rise from the waters triumphantly. But the question is, will he go to the moon? I think I'm trying to think. The only thing Zilch has left on Earth is that mom bomb.
Right, and if he
I'm going
exited
through.
out earlier,
Yeah, because we don't have a
yeah.
twin harp, we don't have a Earth crystal, we don't have a Baron key. So yeah, it's probably time to go to space.
This could be a very interesting moon dive because you're going to be getting a lot of stuff that will lead you right back to the blue planet. You're going to find the Earth crystal, you're going to find the twin harp, you can find the Baron key, you can find the pan. The question is, how far do you want to dive?
Yeah, that is the.
I mean, obviously, if you do find the twin harp, yeah, that's great. Yeah, you're in go mode at that point. But the other stuff could be tempting you back down to the blue planet.
Yeah, that is always a really hard decision. One thing I've been doing lately, and I don't think either of our runners would do this, is hit the 2 quickest spots on the moon, which are Cave Bahamut and then the Murasame altar. I always have to think about that really hard. the one that's kind of cornered off from everyone else at the top of the moon. I've been doing just those 2 checks and seeing what I get. And if I get a bunch of key items, I'll go back to Earth at that point because it's not a huge investment. But we'll see.
Well, it looks like the first thing Zilch is going to do is park outside the lunar subterrane and take a look at the character here.
After a care nap.
Yes, the very important rest here in the whale. Have you ever slept inside of a whale?
No, but I have napped in a chair, and these little pods always look like office chairs to me, so I call that the chair nap.
That works for me. And it looks like ch4osh4des is also through with those bosses in Dwarf Castle.
I would love to see a Cecil on this throne if I'm Zilch.
Ooh, that would be tempting.
But a Palom, I think it's too late to take a Palom. We do have the what the community calls the EXP slingshot turned off for this flag set. For most free enterprise seeds, if a really, really low level character joins your high level party, they will get a experience bonus, but that is turned off. And Palom needs a lot of experience to be endgame viable. And we're getting pretty close to go mode, so yeah, might not be the best choice to take in.
Yeah, I agree. It's been very interesting to see just how a few tweaks to the flag could really change the metagame that runners take while playing Free Enterprise. In the previous tournament, Highway to the Threema Zone, mages were all the rage, if you'd be so rhyming. You would often get your mages. You would go to the Giant of Babel. You would do a D-Machine grind. You would slingshot them up to the point where they would get nuked, and then you would do a lot of reflex strats against Romus. Nowadays, it's all about the Berserk and the melee fighters.
Yeah, I've seen 1 or 2 seeds where those are not available, and you have to do mage backup strats. But yeah, this Swiss round in particular has been all about the melee fighters. Okay, looks like we're gonna skip the vanilla wyvern spot right now.
Yeah, looks like it's going to be a pretty traditional bottom-up search for Zilch here.
Yep, a lot of people do that ribbon room first since there are 2 key item checks in that room rather than 1 for every other boss spot. Though this boss spot does have a lot of HP. But a Leviathan with Foo and Nuke, yeah, this should be fine.
Yeah, the waves will be annoying, but as opposed to Ogopogo, who does waves in groups of 2, only getting 25% of your hit points taken off isn't going to be too bad, and his Ice 2 casts, I don't think are going to cause much problem.
Yeah, I don't think this spot has particularly high magic power. It's kind of weird because the randomizer taught us that boss spots that primarily do magic have really high physical stats and vice versa. And of course, the D-Lunars are normally here and they have mostly magical attacks. So the magic shouldn't be too bad here. Foo with Nuke.
Oh yeah, that solves a lot of your problems when you have a Foo with Nuke.
Yep, Rosa with the Cure 3 to heal up those waves. Sid with that Cursed Ring has got your agility situation just mwah.
Meanwhile, Chaos Hades gets the good news of finding Kainatsu up here on the top of the tower. And I have to imagine after clearing this out, he might also dip into Luca Cave, but otherwise I think he'll be in the same position as Zilch is right now.
Pretty much. Yeah. Has one more key item because he did that Mom Bomb fight and got that rat tail. But these runners are pretty much even right now. Running into that limited Fu MP pool again. Does have a few Ether 2s. What's really nice about this flag set is in the starter kit you get an elixir. So if you really need MP on Fu, you know you'll at least have that one elixir.
That's right. Elixirs are usually, at least for me, one of those items that I always save until it's too late because it's just too good to use.
It is actually kind of nice to have to bail you out of the Zeromus fight. I've had at least one practice seed where that has happened. But seriously, use your elixirs.
That's what they're there for.
Ooh, I do notice that Chaos picked up a Soma drop somewhere. That's going to help with some of that low MP problems.
Yeah, the Soma drop gives you an extra 10 maximum MP, and you wouldn't think that's too much, but when it takes you from 190 to around 200, there's so many spells that, you know, take 20 or 25 or 50 MP to cast, so it just gives you one more extra cast of those.
Well, Leviathan guarding some really good equipment. Kane's going to be happy with that Gungnir Spear, but not a key item in sight.
Kind of surprising given the amount of key items we still have to find, but we still have 4 more checks to make in the Lunar Subterranean. We still, of course, as always, have Cave Value waiting for us.
Yep, and there's got to be something there that leads us back to Earth, because we still actually have, let's see, we got Twin Harp as a key item check, 2 key item checks at Baron, key item check on the Earth Crystal. So we need to get some stuff from the moon so we can fly the moon and go find key item checks on Earth. And finding the elements. Yep, Zilch going with the reflect strats here. The nice thing about Final Fantasy IV in general is if you don't do direct damage to enemies, they will not run specific scripts. So if you reflect all your damage and don't attack this Mylon directly, it will never change over to Rubicante. It will just stay a Mylon. With the appropriate amount of HP, so you only have to do 1/4 of the damage to defeat this boss spot.
I believe it's the case that Bylon and Rubicante share 1 HP pool, and Kainatsu and Valvalis share the other half. So I think you still have to do half the damage, but still half the damage is a lot easier than doing all the damage.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. Rosa with the reflected Cure 3s. Doing so much.
Taking advantage of that undead nature of Mylon, and yeah, that fight is a lot easier to when you don't have to worry about the phase changes.
Chaos here fully committing to clearing the Earth. Is going to be very disappointed to not find a key item at the bottom of the Luca Cave.
Speaking of being disappointed to not find a key item, it's just a ninja hat behind the element spot there, so that's 0 for 2 on these altars, which could potentially make a difference if Chaos Hades goes a top-down approach to the moon.
Yeah, though the nice thing is if you can beat the boss at this final altar here, you have the pass. You don't have to do that long trek down the basement again. This shouldn't be too bad. Some good quakes. Oh, going with Meteo. Yeah, Quake probably is not strong enough to take out all the dolls here.
Yeah, this is probably one of the few boss spots.
This is a
in the
higher
game,
HP spot.
Where
Luckily,
Quake wouldn't do it, yeah.
Dolls still creep me out all this time later. Oof.
Yeah, both the elements and the dolls here not really liking the game. They seem to be punching him out pretty quite often.
Meteo, woo! That'll do it.
That'll be enough. Yeah, very good.
So the good news is Zilch doesn't have to come back down here, and he gets an Earth Crystal.
The temptation begins. When do you bail on the moon?
Especially since you've cleared out like the really far down checks where you have to walk a full 2 minutes. The only checks you have left are closer to the surface of the moon, and thus it's not nearly as much of a time investment if you decide to bail out of the moon right now. I think either way is a fine play.
I think you probably would want to take out the Wyvern altar here.
Oh yeah, that's true. We do have Wyvern. Yep,
and
that's exactly what he's gonna do.
I mean, worst case scenario, if you do bail after this, then yeah, you have Cave Bahamut, which is right on the surface. You've got the first altar, which is right after the entrance. So you probably wouldn't lose too much time if you do decide. If you get something like, say, the Bear Feet here, and say, okay, that's enough. I want to go back down to Earth.
And thank you for Step Lively for the raid. The story thus far is this seed has been relatively kind. We got a Fusoya earlier. We started with a rain and a Koza, a Kane and a Rosa. I apologize for the spoonerism. And just finding King and Queen Evelyn here. So this seed continues to be nice and cozy, very gentle, caring almost.
Yeah, but that's when it gets you.
Yeah.
That's when it lulls you to a false sense of security, then bam. You need Ogo at a really nasty spot.
So we'll see if Chaos goes the opposite way. That could be a difference here.
Well, Chaos did take a look inside of the Hummingway shop and only found Cure 3s. Given the really nice amount of the high-quality items we found earlier, that's really not much of a surprise if that winds up being kind of a bust of a shop.
And Zilch almost threw King and Queen Evelyn. Let's see if this is a harp or a pink tail. Well, no, we got the pink tail. A harp. What else do we need? A legend sword, an animate. Just a power shirt.
That is really intriguing. So you have to imagine that unless the Earth crystal leads you on a really long chain, that the top of the moon here has the goods.
Probably, but I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm kind of rooting for the really long chain under the Earth crystal. Yeah, we only got 2 checks left on the moon. We've seen that mom bomb check on Chaos's side. We're running out of spots real fast here.
Well, it does look like Chaos is going to give us the cave value check. Going to go down there and see who the boss is in this location. Zilch warped out of the moon, but is going back in. Going to go ahead and take out that first altar, I would presume.
Yep, and we'll see what kind of rudeness awaits us here. Oh, we do have a cane, so that's good.
I suppose it's still not a fight I'm looking forward to.
No, this is, I guess, the the seed concentrated all of its rudeness into one singular spot. Evil Wall's not going to be fun either, but once again, we have a lot of blink casters. We have a Foo with nuke. That one feels doable. This one is going to be obnoxious at the very best. Let's see, is the nuke getting through? The nuke is getting through.
Yes, I just looked it up. Val only gets 170 magic defense when she spins, not 255 that would cause nuke to miss all the time.
Yeah, the nice thing about nuke is it does lower magic defense before you cast it. That's one of its nice properties. And so, okay, so this Valvalis shouldn't be too bad, though it's still... she is still doing a lot of physical damage.
Ironically enough, this might be a spot where you want Val to spin around because she's going to hit so hard otherwise. At least when she's spinning, she'll just do the weak, she'll do the partial stone, and only punch once, which was probably easier to deal with.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. This is one of the very rare situations where you don't want her to go out of tornado form. So we have two very different but very annoying boss fights on either side of the screen right now. And it's still possible that neither of these fights need to be done. Everything theoretically could still be behind the Earth Crystal.
You never know. It could be Twin Harp is here on Chaos Hades' side in Cave Valley, and all of a sudden he's in go mode. Zilch could get baited by both the Earth Crystal and the Baron Key, for example. I mean, the joy of Free Enterprise is you never know until it's in your hands.
Oof. Foo getting taken out. I'm trying to... I don't have enough eyes. I'm trying to watch both sides of the screen at the same time.
One thing I failed to notice is that Chaos Hades did opt on taking that Palom that was in the Lunar Dais. Maybe thinking that Sid isn't going to be a good enough anchor in this situation. But no, it looks like he's also trying to keep him alive.
Yeah, I still think his Sid has a cursed ring too. Oof. And just a spoon on Zilch's side. Good job getting through that fight, though. That was annoying.
Well, the good news is that that is the 10th key item for Zilch, so he'll be getting double experience from here on out.
Yep, his levels actually, when you do all those moon bosses, his levels are actually not terrible right now.
Right. So we won't need to do much more in the way of grinding at this point. You know, especially if he's going to go over to Valvalis, that'll do a decent amount of experience as well.
Chaos is hanging in there. Using that elixir. Use your elixirs. And Zilch will be in this very difficult fight soon as well. He's getting through it, but...
Yeah, so this is... well, the blink up on the Foo is going to do a lot of good for him.
He's done a lot of... I haven't exactly been numerically counting, but he's been doing a lot of damage too. He has got to be close.
He can hold out a little bit longer, get maybe one or two more nukes off, that should do it.
Yep, there you go. And this is why you use that elixir. And what is it? It's a pan!
Oh, that is interesting.
That is 2 checks on its own, plus any other checks that are underneath it.
Now, for Chaos Hades' side, you think that's enough for him to say, okay, I'm not even going to touch the rest of the moon at this point? Let's see what that brings me?
I think the answer is yes, because he hasn't invested the time walking down to the bottom.
Right.
I think it's just worth going and checking on it. It is a 45-second trip from... Was it... I timed the exact animation time. I want to say it was 45 seconds. But I think this check is worth it, especially since it's 2 key items. It's not just the one.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you can get away with not even going anywhere near the rest of the moon, that is such a time save. Especially because I'm not sure what his levels are right now, but he knows where those sirens are, so he doesn't have to worry about where he's going to be getting his experience from.
That is true. I don't think Zilch ever found the sirens. Now, Zilch is choosing to keep Valvalis in tornado form.
We'll see how much damage those nukes will do. By the way, I do have
Poor
to shout
Jan,
out...
he is just getting beat up this seed.
Wow. I do have to shout out Peta69XXX, 75,000 points redeemed for a commentator shout out. That is a lot of points. Thanks for all the time you spent watching us.
That is a lot of points.
That's a legend sword that the Sylphs were keeping. That is intriguing. If this winds up being either of the two key items that would give us go mode, Chaos is in a really nice place here.
Yeah, exactly, because he didn't spend time going all the way to the bottom of the moon, and that's going to put him ahead. Let's see what Sheila has. Does she have the goods? Well, she has a siren now. Just an Avenger, which is going to be really nice for that Kane. Don't get me wrong. Probably worth not resetting out of this check.
No, absolutely. You definitely want to keep that Avenger around with that Kane. That makes so many fights go so quicker, so much easier.
But you know what that means?
That means that Earth Crystal could lead you down so many chains.
That means it's all got to be under Earth Crystal, because I think we've checked. I'm going through in my head, and I think we've checked literally everything else.
That is accurate. The Earth Crystal is going to give you something that will give you something else that will give you something else. And the question is, how much of that are we going to have to do? If it gives us the Twin Harp, and the Twin Harp would then give us like the Baron Key, we can just do the Twin Harp and we'll be done. If it gives us a Baron Key, we might be here for a little bit longer.
Yeah, because we could have... I think Baron Key and then Odin's Spot has Twin Harp would be my ideal situation. As a watcher, not as a player.
Yes. Unfortunately, that does mean Chaos Phase is going to have to go down to the bottom of the moon to grab that Earth Crystal, which is definitely not what he was hoping for making that early pan hit.
Yep, using the rare healing panels here. Which makes sense. I don't actually think we've seen cabins or this seed.
I know we start with a couple tents, and I don't know if we've seen any other big healing items yet. So, yeah.
Yep, just because there was a question in chat, we have found all the bosses we need, including D-Mist. We have found all the characters, so we will not be going to the whale today. And a legend. Well, we knew the Legend Sword was there. We knew that. I just got excited. I don't know why.
You got me excited too. I was like, oh, we're gonna find something. We've already been here.
It's the same thing that was there on the other side of the screen. I just really like free enterprise, okay?
No complaints for me. No complaints for me. Now, Zilch does have that Earth Crystal in hand. We'll likely be going to check that out right after getting the Avenger here from Sheila.
Which, an Avenger for your Kane, always good. Especially since I think the best thing we found for him, other than that, is the Gungnir Spear. And I don't have the math on the top of my head, but I believe the Avenger just has more base attack. In addition to its auto berserk effect.
I believe you're correct with that. But it's a question of whether or not you want to go into battles with that equipped, because you could find enemies that you don't necessarily want to auto attack. So
yeah, that's true. I think we found most of those at this point,
I was
though.
going to say, I think we've seen CPU, we've seen Rubicante, we've seen dolls. I think you'd be okay with, especially in places like Tower of Zot, where you are so overleveled now. You feel comfortable taking on whatever possible script could run if you auto attack.
Zilch Vi and some Sarvales, always useful to have. And do you rate the treasury at this point?
At this point, no.
I mean, you do already have an Avenger for your Kane. You have white robes for your 2 mages. Yeah, this is probably the right choice. As much as I don't want it to be, the equipment situation is pretty good right now.
Yeah, as much as I love raiding that treasury, an hour and 5 minutes in Seed, you've already got what you need probably to beat Z. So yeah.
Yeah, we have a crystal ring, we have a protect ring. We're doing good. Chaos, meanwhile, slowly working through this nasty evil wall fight, getting a little close to the crush. Slight anxiety.
That's a rather advanced wall. We'll hope that we can get through this.
He's really close too. I am afeared. And does take the reset. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that can be a very awkward fight depending upon who the wall decides to attack for your side.
Yeah. It's actually not a bad idea to cast slow on that wall too. Meanwhile, there is nothing here that could possibly be trouble for Zilch, including this Mylon and his dance crew.
Quake to take care of the gas, and I have to imagine that a few Avenger swings maybe would wipe up Mylon himself.
Or a jump, that works too.
That works too, absolutely.
Oh, I'm actually a little surprised that wasn't enough. But a Fire Claw Yang Punch is enough. Don't sleep on Yang's elemental advantages. Those can actually be really useful a lot of the time. Let's see. Another Tella. We're probably not going to take that since we have a Fusoya. And Chaos doing a little Warlock grinding, hoping to get a few more levels for that difficult evil wall fight.
You know, this in terms of ratio of hit points to experience points, this is one of the best fights you can get in the game, especially if you can get off a mute to basically neuter all the attacks that they're going to do as long as there's more than one of them. And
as much as I love Edward, our party's so close to Zeromus levels that Edward strat's not very useful here. So I think he is going to get ditched.
But you have a spoon!
You
Spoon,
do,
Edward!
But we have the lack of the slingshotting. And, yeah. And Fu is just going to laugh in the face of these dark imps. Behold my awesome power. I have rend the earth in twain, somehow at the top of a tower.
I do really love how the imps are lined up perfectly with that Quake fissure.
Papita says, I can hear Asuka screaming in the distance. Yes. Asuka, another member of our awesome restream team who has very strong opinions about Edward.
I believe the opinion is yes.
And Twin Harp, it's music time. I'm going to put some Twin Harp emotes in chat because I subscribe to the free Enterprise channel and I want to. Ha!
That does make a go mode for Zilch, so, you know, as soon as you warp back to Baron, it's right back over to here and park and save and let's go ahead and beat Cave Magnus.
Yep, so most of the people here are pretty familiar with free Enterprise, but just in case we have a few new faces. Would you like to explain the little Easter egg we're about to experience here?
Absolutely. One of the other things that we've randomized include, in addition to all of the boss spots, in addition to all of the item locations, is the music that Edward plays every time we do the Cave Magnus fight here. Normally, you go into the fight, the boss does its little mustache twirling, haha, you can never beat me, and Edward saves the day with some music. The music has been switched out and will play another theme from another game or from pop culture. Basically anything, really. I think we have well over 250 music choices available to us, thanks mostly to Calm Lamely, who is a great arranger extraordinaire for these sort of things. And so we're going to learn what this seed's music is going to be very shortly.
Well, unfortunately, we didn't get to hear too much of it because that karate went down in one nuke and one spear swing, but that was Dearly Beloved from Kingdom Hearts.
Very nice rendition of that, by the way.
And yep, as expected, our Baron Key is here, but Zilch doesn't really care because he is in go mode and has that pass. Levels looked decent. You might want to take one or two more fights, but we're getting pretty close to the end here.
It might be a little awkward for Zilch to do that because he never did go down the hook route and find those sirens in Cave Eblin. I'd have to think that he's probably feeling pretty comfortable with these levels as they are right now, good enough to take on the Z.
It definitely is. I haven't checked up, but yep, I think it's just gonna get off the black chocobo and go right for it. Let's see. Your menuing's too fast. I can't read your stats.
It seems to be in the low to mid 40s.
So good. Yeah, Rose is at one. Yeah, Rose is definitely good to go, especially since she has that white shirt and I believe she has a protect ring. So not too much damage or danger of her dying. Yeah, this is perfectly doable levels here.
So we just had the twin harps in chat. I think we're about to see some flags in chat, if I'm not mistaken. Would you like to explain this one?
Well, I would love to explain this. So Zeromus is a big bad boss fight. He has a very complicated script and very powerful attacks. And if we randomized any parts of him affecting his stats, scripts, or location, it would completely unbalance the randomizer. So instead of randomizing the fight, we randomize Zeromus's appearance. We have over 525 different sprites that Zeromus could turn into. So, whose butt are we going to kick tonight? And I do want to mention that everything under the hood is the same. Zeromus will have the same script, same stats. He's just going to look a lot different.
While we wait for the crystal to come out and see what Z's true form will be, Chaos Hades has made it to the bottom of the moon and is cleaning out these bottom altars. Will be getting his Earth Crystal very shortly as soon as he takes out the dolls here at the Masamune spot.
One 1% chance. I believe because Scala Kitty is both our resident Sephiroth fan and the master of Zeromus sprites. I believe there's multiple Sephiroth sprites, and someone did the math, and there is exactly 1% chance of getting Sephiroth. So there we go.
Very, very nice. So throwing out that slow to get the counter nuke to nerf the first Big Bang. And who does Sephiroth must choose to throw that nuke into? Of course, it's Yang.
Which is probably one of the better counter nukes you're looking for here. The only character I'm even slightly worried about is this Rosa. Her HP is a little bit on the low side. A really high roll Big Bang could take her out. But you, of course, always have Fu as a backup healer. But you prefer to heal with Rosa, both because she has way more MP at this point than Fusoya has. And also, if she's doing the healing, then Fusoya has a little bit of time to throw out some nukes.
Right. The rule of thumb is always, they say, is to have about 2,000 hit points on your characters by the time you get to Zeromus. So yeah, Rosa is a little weak, but because the wisdom and the will stats give you magic defense as well, she should be okay because she has such good gear.
Yeah, it would have to be really, really bad luck.
That being said, I have seen it on plenty of occasions, so it's still not a guarantee.
Always when you most don't want it.
And we've got a second Berserk coming up on the Yang, and we've got the Fu throwing out some nukes on that reflected Sid. We'll see if we get a second Big Bang before the shift change here. Once Z takes around 60,000 hit points of damage, he will change to a second phase and reset his HP. If we do get that, then we won't see this Big Bang come out again for a little while.
And Aegis, our tractor, pointing out that this is in fact the Kingdom Hearts Sephiroth sprite, which goes well with our lovely harp song today.
I think we do have a thing going on. And yeah, that Big Bang comes out and Kane survives with 18 hit points, so...
Woo! Cutting it close there. Yeah, gonna do a second Cure 4 with Fu just to be safe.
Yes, Hades gets through the King-Queen Evelyn fight, has cleared out the bottom portion of the moon. I think he still has to do the evil wall again if he wants to. I don't know if he will or not. He's just trying to say, I think this Earth Crystal has it, or if he wants to just clear out the moon.
Looks like he's going back in.
Yeah.
Which, unfortunately, we know that's going to lose him time, because all he needs is that Earth Crystal, but it's not the wrong play. If you look at the statistics and the routing, this is the right play. It's just the wrong play, which doesn't make sense in a non-randomizer context, but I assure you it makes sense. Every time the Big Bang comes out, I'm a little bit nervous. But we're good. Oh, nope. Kane did not survive that one.
Yeah, I get this feeling that the damage output on zilch's side is a little less than he would like. It's not terrible, but it is going to expose him to a few extra Big Bangs. So every time you roll a Big Bang, you run the risk of just getting a very, very nasty high roll.
Yep, Yang is doing his best, but you really want that Kane up with that Avenger to do more damage. And I'm trying to see how much MP recovery he has in his inventory too.
He's using the elixir I saw on Ether 1. Yes.
And he's using the elixir. Must have picked up the second elixir, because no, that was the Never mind. Well, that's a good target to take that nuke.
It must mean we're in the second phase, since he only does direct nukes during that phase.
But he'll be fine. I think the one danger here is running out of MP. If he has another Ether 2 in his inventory somewhere, then we're probably fine. But that was a nuke, so we do know we're in second phase. And how much does Rosa have left? I think we'll be good here. Kane's actually in a good damage cycle right now.
Right, and I would expect to see the rocks starting to fall pretty soon. I think he's done a decent amount of damage at this point.
Yeah, we haven't seen a motion out of Sephiroth miss. Yeah, nope, that was actually a wiggle. I'm not giving good commentary because I'm so invested in this right now.
It is tense. It is tense.
There's Meteo. Doing a safety cure 4. I would do that in this situation too, but we should be good here.
It should be another 12,000 hit points at most at this point.
Yeah, direct nuke from Fu will finish it off for sure. Wait for it. Wait for it. And boom, there we go.
There it is. GG's to Zilch, coming in with an official race spot time of 1 hour, 23 minutes, 43 seconds. Our on-screen timer was a little off this race. We can verify that Zilch is the winner of this race. Congratulations and GG's.
Yep, the on-screen timers are unofficial. The official times come from our good friend RaceBot. Let's see if Zilch wants to do an interview today. It looks like it. It looks like we're joined by Zilch right now. GG, how does it feel to be 3-1?
Thank you. Feels pretty good. Can't complain. I figured I was a little rusty going into the tournament, so being able to get away with 3 wins already is good feeling. Good feeling.
Absolutely. How'd you feel about getting that early Fu?
It's funny because in the race chat before we started, I was asking Solaris, I was like, hey, what are the chances you can give me a starting Sand Ruby with a Fu? And, it wasn't starting, but it was pretty close. So definitely happy about that. He came through. I gave him a cookie, so it was worth it.
I actually don't have a lot of questions because that was a pretty straightforward seed.
Yeah, the only thing I was worried about was Mom Bomb having something, which I didn't actually check the spoilers after, so maybe she did. I don't know.
She had a rat tail, but it didn't go much further than that.
Okay, so just a waste of time.
Yep.
The one question I did want to ask is, going up to the moon, you were missing a lot of potential key items that would take you back down to Earth. And we were wondering just how many items you would see before you would start to be tempted to go back down to the blue planet and clear those out.
I was going to full clear the moon at that point unless I got my go mode. I figured I needed levels, and that would get me the levels unless I found go mode on the moon, at which point I would just do low level strats and go with that. But yeah, if I didn't have go mode, I was just gonna, even if I found the pan early, I probably would have just stayed on the moon and finished it off. Especially since I had the pass already.
You mentioned low-level strats there, which is a lot more prevalent in the Primus Zone tournament that we finished up last year, as opposed to this one where it seems like Berserk strats are the preferred way to finishing off the seed. How have you felt the flag changes have impacted your game?
I think one of my advantages was the low-level strats, and it's really not needed anymore. And even if you do have to do them, you usually have a foo, which makes them really easy. So I kind of just, if you find a foo, then just don't worry about experience. Just go. And if you get to Zeromus, he can take care of the fight on his own. If you have two, even better. But aside from that, these are more full clear seeds. So just try to be efficient with the routing and do as much as you can in the areas you are. I was trying to get food and nuke before I went to Fey March, just in case I could clear out the bosses. That would speed it up a lot. So that's kind of why I routed the way I did there.
Of course, that takes you up to a record of 3-1. One more win will see you into the bracket stage for sure. How are you feeling about your chances right now?
Well, all the opponents are really good, so every match is a coin flip. It feels like, but I still feel pretty good. 3-1 is already a good spot to be in, so I'm happy about that. And I'll see if I can get out one more win.
That's the questions I've got for you. K&H, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I think he about covered everything, but just GG's to you, and good luck next time.
Absolutely.
Thank you, and thanks for the commentary, and much appreciated for tracking, and Solaris for rolling me the seed I requested, I guess. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And meanwhile, Chaos Shades finishing up this tower. Gonna get the Twin Harp very soon. We're gonna get a reprise of music, and then one more Zeromus fight. So to follow up on what Zilch was saying, I'd just like to thank everyone who is helping out with the restream today. Of course, we got my co-commentator Twisted Flax, doing much better at the interview part because that's my weakest part of commentary. We got Solaris doing the restream and the seed rolling. We got Aegis doing the track and lighting up the buttons. I know I've really been enjoying watching all these matches. So thank you to everyone who helps put this on.
And one more shout out to our runners. Very good job getting through the seed. It didn't pose too much of a challenge, but it still requires a lot of skill to get through it that artfully. And also I want to shout out Chaos as well, who hasn't made many wrong steps. The worst of it is that the routing he chose just happened to not pay off today. If that Mom Bomb and Fey March, or if going top down on the moon would have given you the items you're looking for, it's very likely he would have beaten Zilch. And sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah, it's Chaos has nothing to be ashamed of. This was a perfectly executed seed. It's just the wrong route, and you can't know that. That's the point of randomizer, but so many good moves, clean boss fights. And since before we get music here, I do want to mention once more that the next race today is at 7 p.m. Eastern Time over on our partner channel, RPG Limit Break, and that will be Commander Leonhardt versus Rumblefish. Go watch it. I know I am. But now I will let you listen to Dearly Beloved again. And Chaos demonstrating the ridiculously high magic defense at this spot with Palem's Quake only doing 1 HP of damage.
I want to quickly point out one of the more interesting, in my opinion, unintended side effects of the new C-Neki flag is that you used to have an inventory full of like iron rings when you first got characters. Now, since they aren't coming in with their default equipment, it's really hard to get all of your characters weighed down so you can skip that first part of the fight. And so you're sort of at a loss of how can I speed up killing myself so I can, reducing your HP so that fight goes a lot quicker.
And Chaos Hades here did literally the exact same thing I did in my race, and trying to shorten the cutscene, actually lengthening the cutscene by getting all those HP ran out messages. I literally did that in my last race.
But the good news is we're through with that. We have our objective number 2 lit up. That's 4 objectives. That's Crystal. Chaos Hades is right now in a very good place to get his equipment in proper working order and get everyone ready for the Zeromus fight.
Yep, he's gonna have a little bit higher levels here. A lot higher levels here. His Rosa's at like, I think it was 24,000 or 100 HP.
Yeah.
So this probably will go a little bit faster. Yeah, especially has a cursed ring, so that Palom should be a good anchor.
I wonder if he is actually going to be cursing that Palom, since he did raise him up so much. But I don't think he has nuke, so I think unless he wants to go down and take one more fight in order to get up to nuke levels, at which point, if you take a Palom who has nuke and add that crystal ring to him, he'd be at agility 28, which is like perfect break point to make Zeromus RA2. I think it would be probably best at this point to try to nerf him, or curse him, excuse me, and make him as low agility as possible to speed everyone else up.
Just thinking what I was thinking, while going to use that pass, saw that the Soma drop was in his inventory and popped that on Fu.
I think he popped it on Kane, actually, embracing the meme of the 10 MP Kane.
Oh, did he?
Yes. I do enjoy how the game allows you to use a Soma drop on characters who never can cast magic.
Yep. So get ready for one more round of Sephiroth. But I don't foresee Chaos having too much trouble with this fight. It's set up for hybrid or just pure berserk, either way.
Those extra levels, increasing everyone's HP up to, Rosa's 2,500, Sid and Kane are well over 3,000, 4,000 in Sid's case, should be very useful for making sure that nothing goes wrong during this fight. And there's the Throne Crystal, and there is our one-winged Angelmas.
Latin chanting intensifies.
Chaos is opting to throw a Silk Web out to affect the slow and bait out the counter nuke, which will help keep this first big
Ooh.
bang's damage down.
Best possible counter nuke.
I don't know. I think Chaos is trying to use him since he first bluffed with him. So it'll be interesting to see how he plans to use his pal. Again, he's one level shy of getting nuke on him. So I don't think he wants to throw out reflected viruses, maybe.
Or just one of the level 3 elemental spells. They take a long time to cast, but... Rosa wearing the Star Veil. And throwing a white with food. This does make sense because of Zeromus' holy weakness. White does do more damage, though it has a much longer casting time. But if you don't have a Stardust draw on Fu, white is definitely better for your MP buck.
Yeah, especially in a situation like this where you do have higher HP levels than you might normally would. It is possible worth taking the time to throw an extra white cast the nukes. Although with only 5100, I don't know.
Yep, and we're going with some pretty classic hybrid strats here. Letting the Berserkers do most of the work, but occasionally getting those big chunks of HP damage with reflected spells.
Looking like Palamus opting for the Fire 3 reflex here.
And still getting 5,000 in. That's not bad for a non-nuke.
Absolutely, you definitely don't mind seeing that, especially, and looks like we are going to try to use a straight-up nuke on Sephiroth from this way to the side to try to nerf the second Big Bang.
I believe the timing is correct.
I would believe it. The timing can be a little tricky, but I think that looks good. Using those pure 3s that he picked up at the Hummingway shop.
Yeah, this fight is pretty stable. It's going pretty dang well. Ooh, that was a high roll for... That was still nerfed, but it was a high roll for a nerf.
I don't think that was a nerf. I saw it was 2,300 damage. I don't know if I've ever seen a nerf that was that high, so I have to think that he was just a little tinge early on getting the nerf out.
Yeah, you're probably right. It was either a high nerf or a low... But I suppose it did take out quite a bit on Kane. I think I'm just getting fooled by everyone else's really high magic defense equipment. Do it a little safety cure 4 with Fu here. Which Fu's white magic stat must not be the greatest right now, because that was not the strongest cure 4.
No, I'm
Wonder...
curious.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I wonder what kind of equipment he has on the Fu, because I know we saw a surfeit of things like Sorcerer Robes and Wizard Robes, but I don't know what Fu's rocking on this side.
You love when you get the reflected counter nuke.
Ah, very nice. Thanks for that little extra bit of damage there on Sephiroth.
Let's see if this one actually got nerfed. If it's not, Kane is going to go down here. Nope, that one was successfully nerfed. Good job.
That's great. I'm sure Kane's very happy that only take 600 damage from a Big Bang.
Quad Rosa, get that cure 4. Oh no! Starville!
Oh.
At least we get the black hole here to give us a little bit of time. You know that feeling when your Zeromus fight is just going along fine and dandy, and then your Star Veil wears off?
It's not a pleasant feeling. I can tell you that.
Luckily, he does have Fu for backup healing. Hallam taking a nuke directly to the face.
On the plus side, that nuke again does mean we're in the second phase, so we're at least halfway home. And if we can get ourselves back on track with it, this Cure 4 comes out, shouldn't be a problem. I feel that Chaos 8 is still in a very good position as long as he can recover MP on Fusia.
Yeah, I was trying to check out the inventory for any MP healing. The other thing is Fu can steal MP off of Palom too with the Psych spell if you're really desperate.
Or I just point this out, Kane has 10 MP to steal.
The only he does not because he's out 0 out of... No, you get a free heal. Yeah, you are correct. You could steal exactly 10 MP from Kane.
Although, to be perfectly honest, if he just wanted to let Kane and Sid swing away for the rest of this fight, I think Rosa should still have enough MP left in the tank to heal out the rest of this fight.
And yep, Fu, unsurprisingly, out of MP. Did he just select regen? Is he going for the swag regen? Is that what I just saw?
I'm going to be honest with you, in the time I've spent watching people play, oh, well, he got rocked, so I think this is a done deal at this point. But I was going to say, I don't think I've ever seen anyone pull out the regen strats here.
That's just fun to see. I mean, he can't do anything else without MP, so you might as well. That one, the what, 20 MP that heals, that could be the difference maker.
But no.
There's the crack in the boom and the crumble, and Chaos Hades has finished with an official race spot time of 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 41 seconds. We'll see if he wants to do an interview today.
Yes, GG to Chaos Hades. Again, a really well done seed. Just a couple of unluckiness with the routing. I think the sound that I just heard means that Chaos Hades is joining us. GG's on that finish, Chaos Hades.
Thanks.
So, how did you feel that seed went overall?
I was okay until the Evil Wall on the Murazami spot. Before that, it was kinda tricky, but I wasn't feeling very bad about how I did my fights and how I went. I did some errors in routing though, but I thought it was okay. But when I went to the moon, it wasn't really happy.
No, I wouldn't call them errors in routing. If that mom play in the Baymarch paid off, or going top down paid off, I think you could have very easily beaten Zilch today.
Okay, yeah.
I do have to say that the seed did give you a very kind start, getting that very early Fusia to your part.
Yes, I was thinking, do I need to check Kaipo? It's on my route, so I'll do a quick peek. And when I saw the map, I was like, oh yeah, it helps a lot.
Absolutely, it makes things a lot easier when you have a Fu powering up in the early game.
Yeah.
One of the things we were thinking about as well is that it seemed like there were a lot of key items missing when you went to the moon. And we were wondering how much of that you wanted to clear before you would go down to the blue planet and maybe look at it. For example, if you found the Baron Key or if you found the Earth Crystal. Were you committed to a full clear of the moon when you went up there?
When I got the pan, I did return directly to the blue planet. And when I returned to the moon, I thought, do I need to get out when I get another key item? But when I got to Masamune spot for the Earth Crystal, I was thinking a lot about going back, but I already did it for the pan, so I was like, oh, do I finish the moon? There are still 2 boss left. There are there are a possibility that they have the key item I need, but I should have gone back to the blue planet instead and finding the twin harp.
No one can tell. I mean, the thing about randomizers is, what's a bad play or what doesn't pay out today will be the correct play tomorrow.
Yeah, it's never the same thing.
So yeah, unfortunately, that does take your record to 2-2. You're still in the tournament. You still have a chance of making the brackets. You just have to win, twice in a row. Unfortunately, do you feel any pressure because of that, or are you still going to go out there and make it your best effort?
I'll do my best. I'll do what I can. I'm not really master in this, but it's not. It didn't had more stress, even if I only have 2 chances left. But I'll do like someone said in the chat, not in the chat in this stream, but in the chat in the Discord. I'll do like Gilgamesh. I'll reappear to fill every fight I need to have to do.
Well,
Credits to Sheep Launcher for this.
well, I've been asking all the questions. KNH, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I think that's it for me. Just mostly that you have nothing to be ashamed about because you actually played that seed extremely well. Had a lot of really clean boss fights. It's just that your opponent went to the right places a little bit before you. That's really the only difference. You didn't really make any big mistakes at all.
Oh, I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you.
Absolutely, and thank you for providing some very entertaining play tonight.
Thanks everyone to make us look good with the commenting, the tracking, and the restream. So shout out to the awesome team that makes us make us appear like a good show.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that's going to be most of it for us. I do want to say one more time, the next race is on RPG Limit Break at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. But I think right now, we are going to take you over to Free Enterprise community member Muppets in Space, who is doing the April Fool's Wacky Seeds. If you do not want to be spoiled on the April Fool's Wacky Seeds for Free Enterprise, this is your time to ditch. But we will see you later tonight. Bye.
Goodbye.
Okay, cool.
All right.
I'm being called to dinner, so I'm going to jump out. But thank you. That was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a blast. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, even straightforward seeds are fun to watch. So great job behind the scenes. All right, I'll catch you later. Good idea. Catch you guys later.